Okay, welcome back to the Hacienda. Just a couple things to try and get a hold. Just try and get some stuff together so we can kind of chat about a few things and hopefully share some ideas and kind of get the ball moving on this a little bit as we get ready for another game on Tuesday. But just kind of recap a little bit before we go forward. Just talking a little bit about playing in C and D, and trying to connect in behind and just being making sure that we're all kind of clear on what we're looking for, and kind of have the same ideas in our head and kind of be able to determine what is what. So we'll kind of start here with the same kind of shape that we saw yesterday. So it was a back four in blue and a holding mid two against a front three and an attacking two. So what we're trying to do, as we all know, is to put the ball in the goal. But the best chance for us to do that is to try and get in here behind their center backs. And there's several different ways we can do that, and we're going to work a little bit on this tomorrow as well. But connecting behind, and we have to have a purpose to do that, and understand why we're trying to do it, because we're trying to get the ball in possession here, or here, in 2, 3, or 4, behind their line with a player running, with the ball, needless to say, in behind. We can do it a couple different ways. We can go over, so just as much as playing a big ball in, just someone running onto it. That one's pretty easy to define. It's just playing a big ball in that someone can get on. The thing with that is it's a harder pass to play because it's longer, and it also has to meet the run. So usually, I think what we got into a little bit earlier this season was vertical passes, long vertical passes into long vertical runs. Those are really hard to kind of have this run here intersect with a run here if we're in the same lane and playing the ball over the top of this gap and this person trying to run onto it as well. Why? Because the goalkeeper is usually going to be quick enough to come out, and it's very hard to time that and to have the weight of that pass perfectly. So that is one thing with playing over. Usually it's a diagonal ball onto a vertical run, or even this instance as we played in here, trying to play the ball through one gap and the run goes through another gap, either here or here maybe. So that's kind of some definitions for us there. Another way we can do it by going around. So can we get behind their back line by going around? So that's getting the ball out into 1 and 5 to a player here that maybe's got a 1v1 situation, and can she go ahead and break the line by herself by going ahead and getting in behind them? And that's pretty self-explanatory too. We got a 1v1 here. Can she get behind them? Do whatever we can to get behind. We've got to have instances where we can come inside, instances that we can go around. So we talked about over, we talked about around, and then there's through as well, which is where we can have a player pop out a little bit, maybe to the side, and we play a ball in, and then we play this person in behind off of a pass that goes into a line, into this back line as she receives it here, kind of playing through them, or maybe even cutting in here, maybe the ball's in here, we play the ball in here, and then she plays through them as we get in behind, or maybe it's a ball that goes here to this player going in. So we've got over, we've got around, we've got through, and the other way is under. Under is when a player checks into this space, instead of checking instead of checking forward or checking to the side, she checks vertically. And as that happens, she creates a gap here, and then we exploit that gap. So as this player checks in, we try and fill that with a run into that space as the ball is getting played. So another good example would be is if this player checked in hard here, and then we've got this face cut run that goes here to take advantage of that space that's just been created by this player making this undercut, as we would say. So over, around, through, and under. And it's all about trying to manipulate these gaps between the backs and in this space in here as well, to manipulate that to get what we want. Can we make these gaps bigger? Can we draw maybe people out? Can we draw people wider? Whatever we need to do to make the backs move. We want to manipulate them into getting what we want, and we can do that all those different ways. So we can do it as a team, or we can do it solo. You know, solo usually is with a really good run. That's what we're looking for, the run at the right time to get this person has got time and space perhaps into this area here. Can we make a run that she can visualize, and she makes this run in here? We play this gap here. It's actually still in combination, but it's this player taking the initiative of looking for that ball in behind and staying on side as she makes the run. Or it can be even this player getting the ball, or this player getting the ball and making a dribbling run of her own. Wow, that was impressive. So 2 different ways we can kind of do it solo as well, not just in combinations. But when we're thinking combinations, the most 3 popular are a give and go. So if I'm kind of getting pressed here, maybe I'm playing a ball here and then getting it back on the other side of that player, or vice versa. Maybe we have a double pass there and then we get that person in as well. If we're stuck, we play a ball in and then maybe we make an overlap. So a 1-2 or a give and go, an overlap, always good. Or if the ball gets played in here, this would be an underlap. Maybe we can play the ball in here to manipulate that gap. And the other thing's the third man running. So as we play the ball in, maybe we are able to get it to her front foot, and as it gets to her front foot, she plays it 1 touch in to this run here. Or maybe it's a backdoor run. So you can face cut, or you can go backside. But making sure that you make eye contact before you make that movement. So those are kind of the most general combinations you can do. So the 1-2, the overlap, and the third person running. And then solo wise, either making a really good run and taking the initiative to make a big run in behind, or going ahead and doing it off the dribble. Those are kind of the 2 most popular kind of solo ones that come to my head. And now we'll take some questions here. This is kind of fun. From Abby, talking about connecting the final pass, kind of where the runs and the pass meet. So it's recognizing and making eye contact as that happens. So maybe it's a midfielder with the ball, and when is the time to make the run in here? Mainly is timing when she's able to deliver it. She needs to get into space. So maybe she plays a ball here and then is able to follow it in and gets the ball back. That would be a great time, as soon as you see the ball rolling back here, to make this run forward and behind as soon as she's ready to play it. So we can't go step in here before she's ready to play it. It's we start our movement here on the back player, we check in, and then we're looking for it to get in behind. Remember, always ideally, ball goes through one gap, run goes through a different gap. Other ways to connect that final pass is kind of relying on the stuff that got us from here to here, and that's reading the defenders and trying to see what they're going to do, and then take whatever they give you. If she's forcing out wide, maybe it's a pass here and it's an overlap. That gives them an issue to deal with, especially if this player's first touch goes inside, because then it just creates a bit more space for that ball to go wide. Maybe she's showing inside, and maybe this is a scenario that I either switch lanes, I look for the pass over the top, or maybe we've got a player checking here horizontally along the line, and we can get it into her feet. We can get it into her feet, then we can have a couple different people making runs off it. Maybe it's a double pass here. Maybe it starts here. We get our head up because she's showing inside. As soon as that happens, then we go ahead and take advantage of that. We need to recognize that's what's going on. Show up, arrive at the right time. Maybe just a little check, just a little bit in here. Play into her feet. If you get her front foot, she can go and she can turn and go. We read this player now. If this player comes in really tight, we make the follow up. It's boom, boom, and we're in behind that space again because we moved her out of shape. So that would be a double pass. But the main thing for me is reading what the defense gives you. Like I said yesterday, I thought we did a really good job in here of recognizing what was on and trying to play it. And then I think when we move closer to the goal, I think we start getting a little bit more frenetic and we don't take that time to read what the defender's doing. It's a little bit harder because you're generally outnumbered once you get into C and D. But if we're patient and we just take a look at the defenders and read what that first player is doing, not only am I reading this player, but this player needs to read this player. You know, this player needs to read this player. How can we manipulate her to get what we want? How can this person arrive at the right time if she's not looking how close this player is to the person on the ball? So a lot of little visual cues that you can pick up and use to help you figure out what's next or what's about to happen. And that's what this game is so about. What's just about to happen? What's going to happen? What's about to happen? Along the same vein of that, Elaine was talking about movement in 1 and 5 to try and get behind, picking out people in the box once we do. There was a really good moment yesterday when the ball got played. We were a little deeper here. This is in the second half. And we had our attacking mid in here. She made a good run. And we were a little bit higher. I'm not 100% sure of the positioning here, but this is the part that matters. We had a player here that was put under pressure. And as soon as this player recognizes that, she stepped in and we played her this little short ball. And that's the time to take a look and see what this player does. And this player just kind of turned like this and took a step. That's the time to slip this ball in to this player running onto it. You know, it's immediately get it, read this player, see what they're going to do. If she like steps really hard, maybe we get it in here, maybe we can get it over on our right foot. We get our right foot just a touch into the line. If she stays here and this player kind of her hips follow the ball as it gets passed from the wide player to the attacking mid, that's the sign to me. Just one touch here to that corner of the box. And this is a vertical pass onto a diagonal run, especially if it's someone who likes to get the ball in behind and wants to run a little bit. And most of our wide players can do that. So it's recognizing immediately what this player does and what this player is doing, and then taking what they give us. And that can be hard in these scenarios. But always think about, we're trying to get behind their back line with a pass under control that's away from the goalkeeper. You know, in this space, we're trying to exploit this space, this space, this space. We're trying to get someone with the ball under control there so we can get a good firm shot on target. But that's one thing in particular that I was looking at. And then I think the question too is about how we get somebody in that box and how do we read that. So one of the things that we've talked about a lot in our program's history is maybe that ball is getting played in here, and this player here, if she doesn't have the angle to get in on goal, this is what we talk about going in line. Get to here before you decide, dribble right, as soon as you dribble right at that near post, dribble right at the near post to hold the goalkeeper. And then it's about getting people in behind the ball and crashing as best you can. You know, these guys will be coming back hard too. And then picking out what's the right choice. And if we can if you dribble at the near post, the goalkeeper's gonna come here. 9 times out of 10, if you're coming in here, you're able to slot it far post. Say the defenders are getting a little deeper then, which they'll usually try and get even with the ball if they can, if not behind it, then that's the time to find the gap here or the gap here to that runner, So it's that angled pass back that finds that gap, just like we're playing that 4v2 rondo when we're trying to get it from one side to the next. I guess a little better description of going in line would be a 1v1 scenario here. And if you take her to the outside and you're able to get to here, and if you're able to get past her, don't cross it from here. Unless someone's open and it's a 100% chance. I just think it helps you so much if you take the touch and go behind this player as she chases you, because again, you're going to pull this player to the near post, you're going to have this player drop, and you have all these players like going crazy because you're able to turn and go inline, and you're going to get them so deep that it's an easy pass back at an angle to the middle six. So if you want to name the sixes, this will be the first six. So that's from the goal line to the top of the six. So it's a 6-yard box. And it's another 6 yards from here to the penalty spot. And then it's another 6 yards from the penalty spot to the top of the box. So first six, second six, third six. And that's why we think going inline is so effective, because you suck everybody in, and it usually ends up being this humongous gap between their midfield and their recovering defenders that's really easy to exploit and define as an attacking player. So hopefully that helps a little bit with that. And we can go over some more tomorrow, but I just want to get some stuff out there. Tia was talking about making good runs in the box and getting more numbers in. And yeah, I mean, the more targets this person has when she has the ball to pass to, probably the better. So we really want to have in our heads that we're attacking with 5 or 6. And then when we lose it, we're defending. I mean, by attacking, we need to get all the attacking mids, the forwards, and maybe even one of the holding mids into a position to finish when we're getting them into D, doing everything we can to get them higher up the field. That kind of plays a little bit into Elsa's question, which was next. How do you deal with teams that just play long? And what I mean by committing players forward is if we lose the ball, ideally we have enough people around it to get pressure on it right away. If you're able to get pressure on the ball once you lose it, that transition moment, it makes it really hard for the opposing team to get the ball under control and to play an accurate pass. And sometimes you can't do that, and then it's a recovery in a safe area, that if they're pressing hard on us, and oh my gosh, they're playing a long ball in, it's dropping and not fight. And let's say we've got a 1v1 here that's created because we've got all these people running around. I'm just gonna slide these people here, and say we get this 1v1 scenario created. As soon as this ball's played, say we pass it and somehow it rebounds to the goalkeeper, makes a great save, and it comes to somebody, and we can't get immediate pressure on them, and they're able to serve the ball long. As soon as we recognize that the ball is going to be served long, if we can't win it right away, we drop. Why do I say that? I say that because if we go to win the ball here and we don't win the ball, go through our progressions. Can I get there before she can play behind me is the last one. And if we're in that scenario, then we have to drop because she can play behind me. And we call this fighting the fight. Don't fight the fight here, fight the fight back here, because there's what we've done is we've made this space that she can attack in so much smaller. So if we can win the long ball and step in and control it, and as soon as we get it, play change lanes or connect a pass, fantastic. But if we can't, if it's coming right to her feet, just give ground. Give her that cushion. Okay, well, she's gonna run at me. Well, then drop. Let her run at you. And if she keeps running at you, let's do the 1v1 here. Well, she's got a whole lot less space to exploit in behind me, and we just all of a sudden have added another player to help us defensively. The problem can happen when we're fighting the fight here and we lose it, because then we're in this chasing scenario, and that becomes really difficult. If we can intercept the long ball in, great, and win it and control it, fantastic. If we can't, just give ground. Just give ground. Give ground. And okay, well, she's faster. Well, then give her a little bit more ground. Because sometimes our goalkeeper can win balls in here. Sometimes we're going to force her to make a mistake because it's hard to run with the ball that long. So I don't know if that kind of helps with that or not, but that's my thing is if you play against a team who plays long, you've got to win the transition moments. So as soon as you lose the ball, can you get pressure on it right away? And that's committing numbers forward, so we don't have like passive players when we have the ball. It's like we're all involved in the attack, and we're around the next pass. And even if the pass doesn't connect, then we can counter pressure right away and try and get the ball back really quickly. But sometimes that's not going to happen. And then we've got to be smart and understand how defense works, you know, and we want to make the field as small as possible. Ideally, we want to make it really hard on the attacker. We want to win the ball back, but it becomes easier if the space is smaller. So if we kind of want to get into the goal that happened yesterday as well, it was almost a similar scenario of we had a defender, and we had a runner, and I'm not 100% sure, but I know it got to this kind of situation where we weren't able to win this ball here, and she was able to take a step and got past this defender. And you know, so this player is like, well, do I take this player or do I take this player? And it's like, okay, can I pressure? Can I win the ball? Can I intercept? No. Can I get there before she controls it? No, she's already got it under control. Can I get there before she can turn and face me? No, she's already running at me. I'm kind of in a little bit of trouble here. Can I get there before she can play behind me? Ended up being the pass went in front, but the first person's touch was able to get behind us. So that's a yes. We weren't able to control this space because the first touch was able to get into this space. So what do? We drop. Okay, well, but Jeff, now she's just gonna run at me. And now she's running, and we've got this scenario that, well, okay, what we're trying to do is make it predictable as possible and turn this 2v1 into a 2v2. If she's coming at, what I can do is ideally try and keep her near post, but even if she plays across me, if I drop, I can still get pressure on the ball and then keep her to this near post. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. But going back to Tia's question, you know, if we commit our attacking mids and our forwards to getting into the box in D and being around the ball and being in areas where we can try and score, when we don't, we're a lot closer to our opponents to counter press, to keep them from playing long, to keep them from building out, to hopefully winning the ball back in this area right away once we lose it. I think we get in a scenario that we end up like this a lot. And you know, as much as we love what we do and what we're capable of, this is really hard. You know, what we want to do is make these players make choices, and then we want to exploit these choices they make. And the more players we can get forward, the harder it is for them to deal with us. So anyway, there's just a couple things there. I know a lot of ramblings here for a Sunday, but hopefully didn't kill too much of everyone's time. And I look forward to talking some more about this tomorrow. Thanks, bye.